Good day. Today we'll be looking at the story of an hour. The story of an hour is by Kate Chopin. It is about Mr. and Mrs. Mallard. At the beginning of the story, we are introduced to a piece of tragic news that Mr. Mallard, the husband, has met his death in a tragic train accident. And then we are in front of his widow, Mrs. Mallard, a young, beautiful wife who is described as a person with heart trouble. The tragic news is introduced to her gradually by her sister, Josephine, and a friend of the family, Richards. After an initial sobbing period, she goes upstairs to the living room where she sits on a comfortable armchair facing an open window. An open window here is symbolic, as the open window displays phenomena of new spring, a new life, a new day, with treetops and singing birds and a clear sky. Behind her is a closed door, again symbolic. Now, in front of her is some kind of a promising future. Behind her is actually the closed door, and it is enclosed on the past, which she would like to forget about and start a new beginning. She looks at the open window, and then suddenly she realizes a new feeling, and she announces this brilliant feeling in some kind of a monologue to herself, and she says, free, 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 soul and body free. After that, she'll hear knocks on the door, and she's upset. The door is locked, she doesn't want to open, but her sister, Josephine, is worried about her. She opens the door, and she accompanies her sister reluctantly to downstairs floor. Notice the symbolic value of upstairs and downstairs, reflecting a certain human mood or a human status. At least feelings, and not social status. When she goes down to the ground floor, all of them are surprised by a key in the door, opening the door, the outside door. Notice again the symbolism in the object of a door. Guess who comes in? Mr. Mallard. Yes. The supposedly killed husband is still alive. He comes back, but the troubled heart of Louise Mallard could not take that shock. She drops down dead. The doctors come and they give a diagnosis, an emotional one, and they call this situation or cause of death joy that kills. Actually, you and I, we know that it was not joy. It was dismay, sadness, shock, after she has found her initial freedom from certain dictates of a patriarchal society presented by her husband and the society in which she lived in the 19th century, she found, ironically, that it was too much to bear. There is definitely dramatic irony here that the situation was misread. Instead of thinking of this situation as a happy return of a husband, it turned out to be a devastating one for the wife. Now, if we look at the plot, we find that it's a very simple one of beginning when we are introduced to main characters. The rising action is represented in Louise Mallard's going upstairs and staying in her room by herself, reflecting on the situation, what she saw, what she thought of. But a sort of a climax or a turning point would be the realization of her sudden freedom, liberty, and she would claim it by saying, free, 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 body and soul free. Now the downfall or the downfall action, the falling action is interruption by the sister, her going down, the reappearance of her husband, and the conclusion would be her death, her final death, and the faulty assumption of the people around her in this amazing, ironic short story that she has died out of joy.